Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Backlog Banter. I'm Tucker, and today I'm joined by the illustrious Abram Buhner and Tanner Extra. And today
Hey,
we're talking about E3 Day 2, Xbox, Bethesda, Square Enix, our thoughts on it. But if you want to talk to us about Xbox, Bethesda, Square Enix, Nintendo in the future, crap that happened yesterday, I don't know, Ubisoft probably, join our Discord, link in the description, subscribe, like the video, it's down there. And I am hyped for E3. We're in the middle of it, but it doesn't seem to be going the direction that would have been ideal. Abram Buhner, your thoughts on day 2 of E3 2021?
Look, E3 is never good.
Mm-hmm.
Think about it. Just think for a minute. When is the last time you sat down and like E3 across the board was great? I can't think of a single E3 recently, thinking years in the past, where people weren't bitching about 1, 2, 3, or all of the showcases. Ultimately, I think E3 is a poor way to deliver information. I think it builds up expectations, and I think it's not great. But here's the bottom line. The showcase that we got today that we watched, we don't care about PC Gamer, and if something else is happening, we don't even, it doesn't matter. We got probably Square Enix was just not good at all. Microsoft was contentious. I thought it was pretty good, but ultimately, it's kind of draining. I'm a little bit drained. We made a lot of content. We saw a lot of games. And for me, the story of E3 is always the few games that hit. It's not the showcases, because usually it's a showcase. It's too long. There's too much padding. There's too much whatever. And I think that's the same today as it always has been.
100%.
But I think that Microsoft accomplished what they needed to. And I think we got some pretty cool games as a result, and a lot of shit.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, it's been another day E3. Par for the course.
It's been another day of E3. We've got the crown jewel of Nintendo coming up on the horizon, where they actually know how to put together a snappy and reasonably length and exciting presentation. But we're talking about two today that I think we can all agree both were too long. Both felt padded in sequences. And there's a lot of stuff here that I'm just not going to remember. And I think that's sort of just my overall thoughts. A lot of the stuff from Xbox and Bethesda was stuff that I can guarantee will be exciting to people that are looking for those games. But on the whole, I didn't come out of it with a lot of stuff to grab on to myself. I'm going to play Halo. I want to try the new Forza because I've never played one of them before. Outer Wilds was cool, or Outer Worlds 2 rather, was cool. There was a couple crossovers, which we'll talk about, and a new Arcane game. But Starfield was a letdown.
yeah.
Halo was not exactly what we wanted. Forza went on too long. I don't know, man. And there's a lot of stuff in there that just felt unmemorable. It felt unimpactful. And that's just kind of, we were talking over a lot of it because a lot of it didn't feel very exciting.
Yeah. If I may show my hand and disappoint one Abram Buhner, as a man who doesn't pay a lot of attention to games I don't really care about, I thought Halo Infinite had come out already.
Okay.
If you asked me, it's like, hey, is Halo Infinite out? I'm like, yeah, probably. It came out like a couple years ago, right?
So here's my
that
opinion.
obviously is wrong.
Yeah, that
Here's
is
my
incorrect. But Abram, why don't you talk about Halo as the biggest Halo fan here?
So Halo did nothing for me today, because today was not for me. The big complaint in the Halo community was that we had seen zero multiplayer. So going into today, all people wanted was multiplayer. And the tenor online on Twitter from the people I follow who really love Halo, the multiplayer more than me, I'm not really a multiplayer guy, is that it looked great. And we're getting more tomorrow. So I think that serviced what it needed to. My general thesis on the Xbox showcase was that it serviced what it needed to. I think it was a good showcase. It got me excited to be an Xbox owner with Game Pass. There's so much I want to try.
Yeah.
But again, it just returns to my central point, which Tucker is more interested in, as someone who's more interested about the tempo of a presentation and the hype cycle and everything. It didn't really bring it, because I don't think that's what they were trying to do. Square Enix, I think, was trying to be more about let's bring the hype and everything, and they completely missed the mark. That was just
they
awful.
bungled it. Yeah,
because there's a difference, I think, in Tanner. We talked about this a little bit on our discussion card in the corner, maybe, unless I upload the video, then there won't be a card. The point is, Xbox was showing you games you already have access to through Game Pass. They were trying to incentivize you to stay in the ecosystem. Square Enix had to show you games that you wanted to drop a lot of money on, you wanted to be invested in. They had to generate hype, and they did none of that. So as the larger apparatus of day two of E3 2021, it was not good.
Yeah.
Halo, though, specifically to Halo, because I just fucking went on a tangent.
Yeah, it's all right.
Whatever. It looks good. I don't really care about the multiplayer though, to be honest with you. Story is interesting. I like this kind of atmospheric. I like the idea of there being a new AI who's replacing Cortana. You got to find Cortana. The sort of 343 games are about finding Cortana. So
Continuing
we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see how that goes. But I want a little bit more campaign. I wanted a confirmed date, which we didn't get. So I don't know.
Yeah, it was strange.
I think it's a big. I heard it was a big deal that they're bringing back like the double kill, like that voice for multiplayer. I heard that was a pretty big deal.
I don't know. I didn't know that wasn't in the 343 games because again, I play Halo for the campaign. So
Yeah.
Honestly, that went a little bit over my head.
And for me, when I'm looking at Halo, I think I'm not the Halo fan. I'm going to try Infinite because it is that big game. Obviously, on Game Pass, it's what Xbox is pushing towards very clearly. But I think the fact that it didn't have a release date is a little bit worrying, considering how transparent they've been in the last year. Of we're delaying this. This is when it's about to come out. We're going to give this information this time. No release date, strange, and I think no comments from the developers on, hey, we heard your thoughts. This is what here's a little bit of a before and after. I think we needed a little bit more transparency from them, because just having a multiplayer reveal, of course, there's going to be multiplayer. It's free to play, which is cool, but it didn't do what I thought that people wanted from the next big drop on a game that's been contentious for the last 2 years.
To be fair, I think that the Halo showcase was very good. I think that what 343 has been doing pretty continuously since last year was have, I think it's called Inside Halo or something, where basically every month they've been releasing dev blogs with what they've been changing and new features and addressing fan criticisms and questions and everything. So I don't think Halo is the problem. I think that it might be symptomatic of a larger Xbox showcase that we can discuss, but that was the right thing for them to show. The concerning thing, Tucker, I agree with, is no release date.
Yeah,
but showing a little bit more campaign narrative, and then focusing on multiplayer, and then having another multiplayer showcase tomorrow. That was the right move. I think Halo was handled properly.
Sure.
So we talked about Halo, which is the classic crown jewel of Microsoft, and now I think we should talk about the new crown jewel of Microsoft, which is Bethesda. This was their press conference as well. We talked about that. Starfield opening was a bit underwhelming, which is from what I understand about how you run a show, and this is mostly a stand-up rule where you open with your second biggest thing and then you close with your biggest thing. So I was entirely expecting an Elder Scrolls 6 or something at the end. In reality, it was Forza, but the real closing. The real closing was Redfall, of course, which I was getting to, Tucker, before you so rudely interrupted me. But no, that's
I pulled a Tanner Dykstra there.
Yeah, you did. You really did. Which is the new game from Arcane Studios.
Arcane Austin, represent.
Hey.
But just down the street, I could go knock on the door.
True. Ask Tucker. You should ask them why I was sort of underwhelmed by this as well.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think there was a ton from this trailer for me to really get excited about. I was very confused by the game's tone, style. It seems to be taking inspiration from fucking whatever they goddamn well please. And it just didn't have that iconic nature that I think a lot of the games that Bethesda put out had. They're not are we going to be really loving these characters? I can't really tell. Is the gameplay only first person? Is it team-based? Is it open world? I was very confused by it, and that was a little underwhelming for the last thing that they showed. And considering how surprisingly little came out of Bethesda, we got a GIMP Starfield reveal, some Elder Scrolls, a Fallout 76 expansion, and I mentioned that it's Skyrim's 10th anniversary. I don't know. I was not very excited by Redfall. I thought it was a pretty underwhelming way to end the conference.
Yeah, me too. When they said, and we are debuting a brand new game from Arcane, I'm like, oh boy, here we go. What is it? And then it's sort of because the characters look pretty realistic, but the vampire designs are sort of cartoonish. They're cartoonishly large, and then
it's apocalypse. It's futuristic.
The character
vampires and
the character classes are also kind of. I was trying to piece together what the specialties of all the characters would be, and it seems like there was some overlap. One of them has magic, one of them has a robot, and then the other two, one of them's a sniper, and the other one is just a regular gun, maybe.
I don't know, man. Abram?
I think we're missing the forest for the trees here. I don't think that and even mattered. What mattered is that Phil Spencer said these are Xbox exclusives. That's all that mattered.
Yeah.
Because you got what you got to contextualize is that everybody in Bethesda's family are making games right now.
Mhm.
Tango is working on Ghostwire. Arcane Leon is working on Deathloop. Machine Games is working on Indiana Jones. Softworks is working on Starfield. Arcane Austin is working on Redfall.
Redfall.
All of their teams are tied up in projects. What was
Mhm.
important, in my opinion, from an optical perspective, and as a player, was to know, yeah, Bethesda is in our corner now. There's no more. Are these games exclusive? Are we kind of being teased? What's the deal?
Yeah.
This was Phil
Mhm.
Spencer saying these are exclusives. This is us. We just spent $8 billion on this deal. So let us show you some games, but let us just reinforce that these are our games. And that's what they did.
Yeah.
Starfield we didn't see a lot of. I think they confirmed a release date for a year and a half from now
Mhm.
is weird. But the fact that we said this is a day one Game Pass game. This is Xbox. This is PC. This is the next big new IP in a bajillion years from
Yeah.
Softworks is important.
What's
I don't know
Redfall? Oh yeah, Softworks. My bad.
from Softworks. I don't know what else really they could have shown. I wanted Wolfenstein 3. I thought that was fairly likely, but the fact is these teams are tied up. There's stuff going on. I think that the Bethesda showcase again was what it was supposed to be. I think that when you look at the Microsoft showcase, again, it was about tactics. It was about let's showcase, let's show our leverage, let's leverage our power as Microsoft and Bethesda here. And I
Yeah.
think that's what they did. A new
Yeah.
IP, two new IP, that's a big deal. You know, and Redfall ultimately, I think it's interesting. I think the fusion of aesthetics and concepts is interesting. I think that we went from having 0 co-op shooters to 18 billion of them, and we don't need all of them. You know, but again, tactics. Here we are. I'm an Xbox fan. Look at this. This is emblematic of my Series S. I already have access to Redfall.
Yeah.
Redfall drops, I have it. I can play it right away, you know, and I think that's what's
Mhm.
important.
Yeah. Fair.
I gotta say, as someone who I also have access to these games tangentially. I think the problem is that when you come out of a presentation confused and it felt like things were predictable, and I don't know if I'm going to think about these games again, there's no excitement for the products. And yeah, they're accessible, but if I'm not excited from the trailers, why would I go and play them? I think that these trailers being underwhelming and the pacing being feeling a little bloated, it was a little too long, not a lot of stuff to really stand on, is more important than you're letting on. Because yeah,
Mhm.
these games are accessible, but why would I want to play them if I'm not excited by what's shown?
Because
I
all
think
E3, sorry, Tanner, I
That's
didn't
okay.
mean to cut you off, but
That's
I
okay.
want to respond directly to what Tucker said because all E3 ever is marketing, and
Exactly.
all marketing needs to do is get you to buy a game. You already bought Redfall. For me, what's important is the notion of this is a new IP. Let's set up the pieces. New IP, Arcane Studios. I already have it. Now the marketing doesn't matter. It's about now I want to play the game and understand it. I think we got a co-op shooter. We got an interesting aesthetic. I don't need to worry about fronting the money for it. I know that it's Arcane. We've got Starfield, new IP from Bethesda Softworks. I know Bethesda Softworks. I don't have to be convinced to buy the game. I have it.
Mhm.
I think that the calculus is different. If you're outside the Xbox ecosystem, all of a sudden, all Microsoft needs you to do is spend $15 a month. You got to recontextualize. E3 is it's transparent bullshit corporate marketing. But the fact is, marketing is to sell a product, but they're selling you a product you already have, and I think that's the difference. And that's why my metrics for success here are different because ultimately I wanted to see, do I care to turn my Xbox on? And now I care because I want to know what Redfall is because it is confusing because it's vampires and it's sci-fi and it's magic and it's all of these
Mhm.
things. That's compelling enough for me to in a stupor at 2 a.m. hit download on Game Pass. You know, that's all they need us to do. It's about optics, and
Yeah.
I think that mystery is important. And again, you don't have to buy it, so why do they have to market it to you? You know.
Sure. I think that what you two are just looking at E3 through two different lenses. Abrams looking at it through the lens of a corporate stooge, if you will, and Tucker's looking at it through the lens of the one true race, which is gamers.
But I think that I am looking at it
Depressed people.
from the perspective of a gamer because
Mhm.
I think the basically from the perspective of a player, I want to leave E3 with games I want to try, and I want to try
Right.
these things because it's
Yeah.
conceptually interesting, and the barrier is lower, so I don't feel like I need to understand exactly what Redfall is. That's more my point. I think that this is a gamer friendly approach because ultimately, there's no risk. It's all reward.
Mhm.
So I'd rather we get to a point like movie trailers that don't reveal enough. I want Xbox Game Studios to do the Christopher Nolan trailer every time they show me something.
Ah.
I want to not know exactly what I'm getting, so when I experience it, it's fresh and interesting.
Hmm.
That's how you get a lot of different pops. You want to talk about the pop of an E3 trailer? Here's the pop of a Mysterious trailer. Here's the pop of everybody trying it because it got them curious and they already have it. And I
Yeah.
think there's a lot of power in that, but it's a delayed gratification. Microsoft Showcase was all delayed gratification. Square Enix's Showcase is all fucking bungled potential. and I just think that those are fundamentally different.
Yeah.
But
I think we've been doing a lot of macro some forest talk, to use Abram's expression. But I think we should reel this back, simplify it a little bit. What was everyone's highlight of today's E3 presentations?
I think all around it's probably all of us Guardians, which we have our own specific discussion for pre-recorded.
Yes.
It's going up today. So we're not going to get more into that. By the way, we are all excited for that game. We all thought it
Yes.
looked very good. But outside of that,
I can go if you're thinking.
Yeah, go
sure.
for it.
Outer Worlds 2.
Yeah.
Very excited. We were talking about Fallout a little bit when they were showing 76 expansions. It's like, I tried Fallout, but it's not the Outer Worlds. And then we got a humorous trailer.
Yeah.
That
Classic Obsidian humor.
Yeah.
That confirmed the game. And again, I got it. So I'm just that's a great moment. It's probably a ways off considering that Avowed is percolating and Grounded is percolating, but I can't wait to play that when it comes out.
Yeah. Tucker, go ahead.
One thing that I just remembered is Yakuza Like a Dragon coming to Game Pass.
Game Pass, yeah.
That's a game that I want to try. We both tried Yakuza 0 earlier this year, and that formula did not really click with us. However, Yakuza Like a Dragon, entirely different gameplay format. So I think I do want to give that a try when it ends up coming out. And I think the idea that like, hey, the entire Yakuza series is now available on Game Pass, that's pretty exciting.
Yeah. If we're talking day one purchases for me, I gotta throw Far Cry 6 in there. It's not exclusive to the Microsoft Bethesda showcase, of course, but I haven't been paying attention to a lot of the trailers or showcases. So watching this was my first time like seeing a gameplay trailer or a story trailer for this in its entirety, and I appreciate where these series is going. It's going more wacky, more cartoonish with the weapons and the characters. And you got Giancarlo Esposito there as a villain. I mean, a crux of a Far Cry game is the villain. That the game really lives or dies by how compelling that villain is, and I think he'll really be a good one. But overall, I'm very excited for Far Cry 6. I'll be getting it day one. The one jaw drop moment for me was it's pretty stupid, but it was the Top Gun DLC crossover for Microsoft's Flight Sim.
Yeah.
Only because I thought they were doing a Top Gun game on its own. But unfortunately, that is not the case.
Yeah. Well, that game is coming to Xbox Series S and X. So if I end up picking one of those up, we can actually play the video game.
Imagine being actually able to play Microsoft Flight Simulator.
Impossible.
What a wild concept.
I really can't wait to try it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, he's going to be getting it soon.
True.
I've been pulling up the Polygon list of everything that was announced. There's a lot of stuff in here, and I think my point about things feeling predictable or samey or a little bit backgrounded is true because there's a lot of stuff I barely even remember.
Yeah.
But Psychonauts 2 got another trailer. That game looks great. Both of us are very excited for that. I don't know how you feel, Tanner. You're not really a 3D platformer guy, but
I'd like to try a platformer, and that platformer would be Psychonauts.
A couple other ones, Slime Rancher 2. I played the original. Abram not so hot on that rainbow pastel color palette, but I think that having a sequel to that game is very exciting. It looks great visually. So I don't know. I'm happy for that one. I don't know when I'm going to play that, but it's cool that they have that kind of announcement here. That's a pretty big indie announcement. But I think the one that we're kind of skimming over got lost in the shuffle a little bit is this game called Replaced.
Oh yeah.
HD 2D. I know you don't like that, but it's got that thing going for it. These environments pixelated, looks like crazy combat traversal. I'm pretty turned on by that one.
I'm in.
Yeah, it looks great.
Yeah.
I love a good cyberpunk aesthetic. So
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I want to mention Forza. I think that could be really interesting. They spent too long on it, obviously, but
yeah,
the Forza games are really big, really important to the ecosystem, and I've never tried one, so I kind of want to download Horizon 4 and just kind of tool around with it a little bit and see how it is. But I think that could be really fun. I also want to mention, speaking of crossovers, which I saw. I caught it frame zero. Let's talk about Pirates of the Caribbean and Sea of Thieves, which I said, is that Tia Dalma? And Tucker says, what the fuck are you talking about?
Huh?
Was I correct or was I correct? Because it was Tia Dalma and Pirates of the Caribbean, which
insane.
I will try. I've wanted to try Sea of Thieves for a while, but as a lapsed enormous Pirates of the Caribbean fan, I'll definitely try it now. I think that's good timing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And the last thing I wanted to bring up was Battlefield 2042 trailer may be convincing me to drop $70 on a Battlefield game. So there's that. It's at least a little bit convincing.
I mean, that game looks insane from production value.
Absolutely.
Like production value 40 there.
Yes, absolutely.
And man, those environments, the particle effects, the scale of it all is really cool. And I think they're also increasing the size of how many players are on the maps or something. I heard a little bit of that in the wind yesterday or something like that. But if you buy it, I'll try. I don't play first person shooter multiplayer games.
Well, I'm terrible at them, which is the thing. I'm terrible, fucking god awful.
But it'd be fun to mess around in.
Yeah, for sure.
Do we have to rip the Square Enix Band-Aid off?
Well, we can just say they fucked up that Final Fantasy collection to the goddamn moon and back.
Right.
I don't even know if you noticed, Tanner, but they announced a HD collection of Final Fantasy 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6.
I saw a bunch of logos.
Coming only to Steam and mobile.
Where those games already exist. Yes,
those games are already available in these schmucked up forms, but not on the consoles where people are excited to play them on. So they really fucked that one up royally.
Why would you not do it on consoles?
I don't think the Xbox Series S can run Final Fantasy 3.
Oh, that's
they
the hardware
up
is not
so much that not even the Xbox Series X can control it.
Yeah, the Square Enix showcase was the archetypical terrible E3 showcase. I really think.
Yeah.
By the end, Tucker and I were looking on Wikipedia to try to remember names of other completely unrelated games that neither of us were paying attention. It completely lost us. But I think it is. Yeah. Sorry, Tanner. What do you want to say?
Well, I was gonna say, I went back through because I'll be honest, I walked away from my computer for a while during that Square Enix one.
That's totally fine.
And I came back during that like ending montage after the Life is Strange stuff. I'm like, oh, they showed Forspoken, or they have Forspoken in there. Did they show anything new about Forspoken? They didn't. No, they didn't.
Their two biggest games, I would say, Forspoken and Final Fantasy 16 were not present. Those are projects that are coming very much later, taking advantage of the hardware. The focus, obviously, this time, Guardians, as we had our full discussion on, and the reveal, not so surprising, of Final Fantasy Origins, fucking The Stranger Within. I don't remember what it's called, something Stranger, which is a Final Fantasy maybe remake of one prequel to the first game in a Souls-like fashion. It's interesting, but it looks like a PS3 game, and it's very strange that game is not taking advantage of the hardware.
So there's a demo coming soon to PS5, so I guess we'll know outside of the context of a compressed Square Enix stream if it looks good. And what I care about more is, does it feel like it was supposed to be a PS3 game, or does it feel like a PS5?
Sure. Yeah.
Because when you got your Devil May Cry 5s, and you got your Bayonetta 2s, and you got your fucking Final Fantasy 7 remakes, your combat's gotta feel good, because we know what combat can feel like in the modern era. And I didn't really get a whole lot of sense of that. It's also being developed by, what is it, Team Ninja? I always confuse Team Ninja and Ninja Theory. Team Ninja and Koei Tecmo. So you have a lot of DMC vibes, which you get from Team Ninja, but then maybe some Neo vibes from Koei Tecmo, who published Neo, So It doesn't look like a Souls game, but it doesn't look like a traditional character action game. It looks like it's somewhere in the middle, but it also looks like it's been in development for a decade. So we'll see. I don't know if soon means the demo is going to be out in 12 hours. Or it's going to be out in 2 months. I hope that it's soon so they can take feedback, kind of like an Octopath Traveler, and apply it before the game launches next year.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. I thought that was really lame, honestly.
Mm-hmm. One thing that we have to end on, as all things should, I would say,
Mm.
Marvel's Avengers, as all good things
Oh.
do. Ending with Marvel's Avengers, they showed off War for Wakanda. We thought good old T'Challa looked a little bit pudgy there. He's got a little bit of a belly on him, which is funny.
He's got some punch on him, but there's nothing wrong with that.
There's
All
nothing
right,
wrong with that,
it's
no.
some. He takes like the magic root or whatever. He doesn't need to be ripped. He just takes the magic root and he's got super strength. Easy.
Yeah, but I don't think that content is gonna pull either of us back. It looks good visually. I'm glad they're finally releasing a big expansion relatively for this game, and hopefully they announce more of their plan going forward because that game's just bungled.
Tucker, is there anything they could announce that would get you to go back to it?
An overhaul of the whole goddamn thing. I don't know.
Oh,
I think they need some sort of major event that crosses over the main story with the side content and reimagines the way that the multiplayer works, but just unlikely.
Yeah.
It's just, it was just always a flawed premise. It was an opportunity where Square Enix said, we want our destiny.
Yeah.
And somehow we stumbled into the Marvel license.
Yeah. Oh, all right.
So they tried to stick them together. It didn't work. The gear system doesn't make sense. The online multiplayer infrastructure doesn't make sense. The post-launch support has been terrible. You get a free upgrade to PS5 for buying it on PS4. So at some point, I want to give it one try. I just want to see, because the load times were egregious on PS4. The game didn't look very good. Maybe War for Wakanda, I'll try for an afternoon. But the game it's a lost cause. Cut Crystal Dynamics loose. Let them make another Tomb Raider game or something that's not a fucking service game, because they've never made anything like that. They were never the right team to do it. Tucker.
Yes.
Tucker.
Yes.
Take us out.
We never should have talked about Avengers on this channel ever.
Yeah.
No, we should have just fucking erased it from time.
Yeah.
One of our most important games to this channel.
Tucker, would you like to take us out?
Well, E3 day 2. I'm personally underwhelmed. I don't have much to take away from this except for Guardians looks pretty cool. So we'll see how the rest of the showcases fare, but I'm not as excited as I was going into today, waking up, holy shit, it's E3. We didn't have E3 last year. I can't imagine what they're going to show. It's going to be great. Xbox bought Bethesda. This is going to be absolutely wild.
Well, no worries, because we're getting GTA 6 tomorrow, right, fellas?
Right.
Right, fellas?
Here's the problem, okay? I want to end by saying this. I said at the top, I want to say it at the bottom. I would challenge any one of you two fuckers or anyone in the audience to tell me when E3 was really genuinely great. You know,
1998.
Yeah, and we look back on these E3s like, oh, fun. But when E3 was a trade show and people had to wade through that shit and then communicate to the audience in a magazine, you knew what you were getting here. Here we gotta sit on the front lines and we gotta fucking watch Brave Exevious get a 5-star login bonus character. It's horse shit.
Well, I don't know what any of those words meant.
E3 is a conduit to get like 4 to 6 games you're really excited about, right?
Yeah.
Yes. Always has been.
Always has been, always will be. So I'm really excited for day 4 when we get Nintendo. But in the meantime, I will continue to beat the drum that Microsoft is thinking they're playing 8-dimensional chess. Today's showcase made me excited to be in their ecosystem, and I think that's important. And I think that has delayed gratification. Because the instant gratification is sitting here in front of this dumb hot ring light watching fucking Life is Strange characters get Vaseline swiped off of their faces so you can kind of see what's happening. God damn it. We'll talk to you soon.
Yeah.
Oh, you have to stop the recording?
Oh, okay. Yeah, I forgot I was recording.